Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Sam McGinnis.
And this is Dr. Michael McGinnis.
And we're the Irish Docs, and we're here to talk a little bit about gut health or the gut microbiome and anxiety and the link between the two. But before we get started with that, this is a question and answer. So if you guys have any questions, please leave your please leave questions in the description. Even after the video, we will go back and look at the video and answer them. Dr. Michael, we've got a talk coming up. Is that this next upcoming Monday?
That's absolutely correct, Dr. Samuel. I'm sorry, I got a little discombobulated because I just wanted to it's comments, right, with Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I think that Dr. Sam's been on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
so you'll put it in the description. That's no. I didn't want to call you out on it, but I couldn't. It was throwing my focus off. So
someone's been paying way too much attention to the YouTube logarithms.
Yeah. So don't put it in the description because that doesn't make you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But
leave it in the comments.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. I'm actually going to tilt this down just a hair if I can.
There we go. All right. So we have the talk that's coming up. What are we talking about, Dr. Michael,
Sorry,
on the 19th?
Sam. Back on track here. Yes, on Monday, 6:30 here at the clinic, there is going to be a talk on mental health. It is going to be a fantastic event. I highly recommend that you're in attendance, either in person, but also, if you can't be there in person, it will be a Facebook Live and YouTube Live event, so you can attend virtually. So I would highly recommend being a part of that and taking advantage of that. Also, you can also tag other people. If you know someone else who might be interested in that, please tag them in the comments.
There's also going to be literally hundreds of dollars of giveaways during that particular talk, so it is worth tuning in online and in person. Now, speaking of giveaways, this Friday we have literally hundreds of dollars in giveaways. Giveaways all week long.
That's right.
And to be entered into those giveaways on Friday, you got to leave green hearts in the description. For
comments.
Into the comment section. Yep, I got it stuck in my head now. Leave green hearts or hashtag Love Irish Docs or Irish Docs.
That's right.
And we will enter you into that giveaway. One, you can actually go back and watch the videos all this week, and you can actually comment on those videos too as well if you want to be entered in more than once. Every time you watch the video and leave a comment, you'll be entered in once. So we'll be drawing that Friday. So we will not have a talk tomorrow, as we always don't have talks on Thursdays. But we will have a talk on Friday, and leaving comments in the talk on Friday will enter you in. So
that's right. So you have the opportunity 4 different days. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes.
That's right. To get those green hearts in the comments, and that is all, if you get your green heart in all 4 of those days, regardless of whether you were actually in attendance during the live of those days, you will have your name put into that drawing for Friday.
Absolutely.
4 times. So
absolutely. All right.
Chances.
So we're talking about anxiety and mental health. Very, very important topics. One of the biggest things we need to talk about when we're talking about this is inflammation, brain inflammation. That doesn't sound good, right, Dr. Michael?
No, that sounds very bad.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have like a pounding headache or that your brain is exploding with all this inflammation inside. What it means is that there's inflammatory markers inside of your brain, like cytokines and
interleukin.
Yes, I was going to say that one.
All kinds of fun little cells.
What are these? Well, basically, these are chemicals that are released from your immune system to either clear up damaged tissue or to fight off infection. Sometimes it can be used to fight off things that it thinks is an infection, but it really isn't.
Right.
And so basically, this harsh chemistry, so to speak, can be damaging or cause inflammation within the body. That can be in local tissues, or that can be throughout your entire body because it runs through your bloodstream. So we would call systemic inflammation is inflammation that is in your entire body, or general inflammation levels, where you have specific inflammation is in a specific tissue. So what did they find? There's some research that was, I think I released an article last week, if I'm not mistaken, but there was some research that found that people that suffer from anxiety have higher brain inflammatory markers, like the leukids and the cytokines. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think it's IL-6. I always refer to IL-6. I didn't really call it
IL. Maybe most people don't call it interleukin.
Yeah. No, it's way too challenging to say.
It's like what rolls off the tongue.
Yes, right. Exactly. Literally rolls. The tongue goes with it. So these brain markers are for inflammatory levels. Have a direct link to people that suffer from anxiety, and also we found that that in the article that the average population is about 3.6% people in the general population suffer from anxiety in general. Now, anxiety's older brother or younger sister, or whatever you want to call it, depression, they kind of are similar but different in a lot of different ways, but they affect the brain in different ways, and that throwing off the brain chemistry. And so just like Dr. Mike talked about yesterday with neurotransmitters kind of being like brain hormones or nerve hormones, so to speak, that can affect those, that inflammation levels can directly affect those neurotransmitters too as well. Which is
100%.
very, very bad when that happens.
That's right.
So, Dr. Mike, I mean, now, how does this relate to the gut microbiome?
Yes, so we're going to talk a little bit about the gut microbiome. If you would jump onto PubMed and type in microbiome and anxiety, you will find that there is an insane amount of research that is backing up the idea that the microbiome plays a huge role in overall anxiety in the body and anxiety in the brain. So,
Dr. Michael, maybe that's why we see higher levels of anxiety in teens and high schoolers as they're kind of going through, like we talk about all the stress of school, but what about their diets? We all know that high schoolers and middle schoolers eat like trash. Most of them do. And could that be playing a direct role?
Very, very, very much. You would not believe how many people have resolved anxiety, depressive disorders just by simply changing their diet. Now, here's the thing though, is how do you change your diet? And the art of knowing how specifically, what specific markers in your diet are creating inflammation is a whole nother conversation. Now, what a lot of people will do and have a lot of success with is they start doing anti-inflammatory diets where they just cut anything and everything that's inflammatory out of the diet, which is something I would highly recommend. But if you want more detail in terms of what specific factors are causing inflammation, rather than just taking everything out and basically you're left with, I can't even, honestly, here's even there's flaws to that, because I was about to say all you're eating is broccoli and Brussels sprouts. But the reality is you can have allergies to broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and if you do, then obviously it's very, you have to know what your food sensitivities or food allergies are in order to even determine what a non-inflammatory diet is, because it needs to be more specific than just, now there's definitely generic things that we can throw out for sure, like I would just throw out soy and canola oil and things like this, processed sugars for sure, sugar kind of in general, extremely inflammatory in nature, dairy quite inflammatory in nature as well. So there's a lot of things that we could, just by reducing these things in our diet, would make a huge improvement. But ultimately, we need the specifics, and the only way you would know the specifics is by actually doing a test, which would be actually a blood test.
I mean, how many people have you run across that have kale as one of their food sensitivities?
Yeah, right. I run into it.
Broccoli, or and unfortunately, I mean,
lettuce.
That's unfortunate for them because those are kind of like generally considered to be like superfoods or healthy foods. Which, for maybe the average person that is the case, but for them it's not the case, and it definitely should be avoided as they try to regenerate and heal their gut. Now, what's one of the biggest things that can happen when it comes to food sensitivities with the gut, when it regards to the actual, the breakdown of the gut, leaky gut syndrome?
Okay, so this is where it plays a huge role of how, and I'm not even actually going to go into too much detail into that, because that's a whole nother video basically, to go over like how leaky gut.
You're going to be touching in a lot more detail on the talk on Monday at 6:30, which we will be posting on Facebook here live as well as on YouTube. But that's
right. So yeah, if you want more detail, please stick around for Monday at 6:30. That's where you're going to get a lot more detail on this. But when it comes to food sensitivities, the main thing we got to look at is we actually have to look at the gut lining, because the permeability within the gut lining is how food sensitivities come about, or food allergies, those IgG allergies. Now, so then with that being said, we have to look at what causes that gut lining. We have to take a step back. And we talk about this all the time here, as we have to be good detectives. To be good doctors, you got to be a good detective and follow that pathway backwards and get to the root cause of what's actually creating the problem in the first place. Yeah. No matter what organ system that is, no matter what gear in the Swiss watch, as we like to say, is being dysfunctional. So we go back, we start taking a step back, we start looking at the gut lining and what supports the gut lining, what heals the gut lining. Obviously, we want to avoid things that are inflammatory, infections, different things that are toxins that are going to cause inflammation of the gut lining. But more importantly, we also want to support what builds the gut lining. What builds the gut lining? You guessed it, your microbiome. Yeah. That's right, that bacterial culture that's inside your GI. And this is why it plays a huge role in how it's connected directly to anxiety and how it affects a lot of mental disorders, especially since there's that huge connection, as we talked about earlier, of the nervous system connecting the GI system to the brain. It's extremely important.
And we talked a little bit about, before we've talked in the past about neurotransmitters, we talked about GABA, we've talked about, I'm trying to think of the other one.
Acetylcholine.
Yep, acetylcholine.
Norepinephrine, epinephrine.
Now, all these different brain hormones, so to speak, are communicating with each other, and a lot of these are either manufactured in the gut by the gut microbiome, or the gut microbiome plays a very important role in the manufacturing process. And we don't understand how important this is until you start studying the neurology with the communication from the brain to the gut. I mean, the second largest bundle of nerves in the entire body, besides the actual brain itself, is called the enteric nervous system, which is surrounding the gut. And that's picking up all these sensory and detailed information from
the feedback,
how the gut is operating and relaying that information back up the brain, as well as so that's, it is a huge piece of the puzzle,
Yep. So it's kind of funny when obviously we look at mental disorders. So to just touch on what Dr. Sam is saying, if you can make this connection, when we talk about mental disorders, you got to think, are you talking about this mental disorder or this mental disorder? I'm trying to point down at my stomach here. I know I'm not doing a good job.
It's your thyroid.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. That's what it kind of looks like. But here's my point, is that we have what's called the second brain. So which brain is being affected? I want you to think about that, okay? Is it this brain or is it my stomach brain?
Yeah.
Okay? Because there's two brains, virtually. Now, obviously, they're not actually two brains, but for all our purposes, in terms of, it's labeled as the second brain because it's such a large bundle of nerve fibers and acts like the brain. So it's important to understand that which brain are we talking about here.
And the most important part is that you can heal your gut. You can reduce or eliminate leaky gut syndrome. There are methods and processes that are proven that can be tested and demonstrated to actually heal that, which is important because it's encouraging. But it's every person has to make that decision and kind of go down that thought process. But especially people that struggle with an anxiety, that can be a very debilitating mental illness. As well as depression. Depression gets a lot more, I think, spotlight because of how potentially dangerous it is. But anxiety too, as well, can be very debilitating, especially when it comes to just stress hormones in the body. Talk about breaking your body down in a quick hurry.
Yep.
So. If you guys are tuning in just now, just remember, leave green hearts in the description, then it'll enter you into the drawing on Friday, where we're going to be literally giving away hundreds of dollars of giveaways, and that's going to be very, very fun. So we're going to be giving away things on Friday. We're going to be giving away things on Monday at the talk.
That's right.
At 6:30.
The following Friday. Why is that, Dr. Sam? What month is it?
It is the month of kindness and giveaways.
That's exactly right.
Give somebody a hug. Very important. Give somebody a hug. Give somebody kindness.
That's right.
It's one of the fruits of the Spirit. Regardless of whether you're a Christian or not, you want to be able to demonstrate kindness. So
that's right.
So, all right. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. We will see you on Friday. We will not be here tomorrow. I will post an article that'll be very interesting. So you guys take care. All right. Winning look.
Winning look is, I say we do a double thumbs up.
Oh, double thumbs up.
Thumbs are, hold on, I can't go this far back. No, one thumb from you, one thumb from me. Should we have this? Yeah, that's good. I like that.